Vijay, thank you very much for joining me today on Ajkal TV. Absolutely fantastic to have you. You don't know how excited I am to have you here with us today. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, Polly, can I say it's absolutely fantastic to be here with you. I think it's a trip down memory lane as well, because we've been on Ajkal shows so many times. So it's a great pleasure and privilege to be here. Can I also say all the people that have joined us? Jai Anu, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum. Thank you for joining.
So Vijay, I'm going to start. Let's kind of like rewind all the way back to the beginning of your sort of career, and maybe just a little bit before you joined Achanak. Where and how did you actually get into singing? Because I think this is one question no one's ever kind of like asked you ever. So where did your journey start from?
I think my journey started in music from a really earlier age, because I'm from an Orthodox Sikh family and we used to go to the Gurdwara a lot, and my dad used to delve in Shabad singing, Kirtan Karna. And as I was growing up, I was really intrigued with the Vaja, the tabla and all that side of things. So I started sort of messing around, and I say messing around with the tabla, didn't have any lessons or anything like that. Really felt that, it was almost like a calling sort of thing. So I played the tabla while my dad sang at the Gurdwara. And then eventually I started, doing the shabad, the singing side of things. And I remember once I actually sang this shabad, and everyone sort of thought it was really nice, and they came up and they complimented me, and that really gave me a lot of inspiration and boost. So then what I did was I thought, well, that's the path that I want to take, and that's how the singing side of me sort of was born, really.
So what happened in between, say, that Shabad and you joining Achanak? Did you sing with someone else? Did you, I don't know, go back to school and maybe join in school from school friends, or what?
I think later on, I had some friends and they were into sort of similar music, Kirtan, Shabad, so we did a lot of that, and it was really good. And then I joined a band actually that used to perform in the Gurdwara, but we did weddings as well, because weddings were really on the rise then. But we always did, like a geet, dharmic geet, and that band was Roshni as well. Sorry, not Roshni. There was a Rasila group, yeah. And then from Rasila group, I joined Roshni group, which is Bagga, his brother as well. And that's when really I started doing a lot of how shall I put it, geet, not dharmic geet, but just geet, yeah, low geet, and it was really good. But I mean, the Amritsar Massacre, we did a little album with Geet, with the Rasila group. That was, and I remember that was my first recording kind of thing I ever did.
Okay.
And then it was, and then we moved on to, well, I moved on to Roshni, and then from Roshni, Achanak was born. So that was the progression within that period.
Okay, so when we first met you from the Ajkal team, you was already part of Achanak then, and there was a group of you then, wasn't there? You had musicians, obviously there was Ninda, there was yourself, but even before before you'd actually recorded your first album, we used to get this energy from you guys that was kind of like, it was really exciting. It was good to meet you guys all the time. And, you always felt like, yeah, there's something, and I think this is while you was recording the album, before your debut album. So you were still in the process of recording, but obviously our paths started crossing. We got to know each other, and it was like we was kind of like eager as well to wait. You know, kind of think, come on, bring this sound out. Let's hear what you guys got.
Yeah, I think we were very, very positive, Polly, about the music we were doing. We were extremely excited. We left Roshni at that time, and I had a track which I wrote, and then sort of we used to sing, or I used to sing the track at weddings or everywhere without any music, and just Lakanu Halade. And as soon as that sort of thing used to happen, people used to just get up and dance, and I thought, So when we were recording Lakanu, we knew we had a good song. We knew that. We had no idea that it was going to be as huge as it has become now, and still sort of kicking the grooves 30 years. We didn't know that then, obviously, but we know we had a really good track. And I remember us doing the track, and we hadn't done the start of it, right? And I ran back to Ninda and I said, we were talking about how we're going to start the track, and I said, why don't we do a rap? And they said that's never going to work. And remember, rap had never been done before. It was just an idea, because I used to listen to all the Bhangra songs, and they used to start with this long music piece, right? And then they used to go into the song. So I said, why don't we do a rap? And sort of there was cackles of laughter and everything. And then I went away, and then we put a rap together, and kind of sort of we rapped it, and da, 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 and Har Koi Aake Tu Soniye. And then we didn't know how to join the two tracks together, so we had the rap and we had Lakanu, Lakanu Halade, and then sort of we experimented as a sort of older men, and then we said, right, stick that tumbi in there, and then we joined it, and that's how Achanak, in the form that we know it, was born.
Just taking you back to your debut album then, and it was released, it launched, and how do you prepare yourselves? Because that song, Lakanu, I think overnight became a massive, massive sound for you, a massive, massive track for you. That kind of like, that was the track of the album, obviously, but kind of like put you guys right onto the map. And all of a sudden, from just being, I suppose, just having introduced yourselves to the industry, there you was right at the front of the industry. And people, for a start, the fans must have, you must have had loads of people contacting you to say, brilliant, where can we see you, where can we watch you? And that kind of like happened overnight. So how did you deal with all of that?
Well, Polly, what happened was I was in my final year degree. I was going to finish my degree because Dad was saying, "Nay, nay, nay, parla, parla," as all parents. Yeah, na, aaj jada music ka kaam hai na, ye hai na, tu hat ja, te parla, hai na. So I used to have that sort of in 1 year, and I was actually I was sitting down and I was finishing my assignment, and I had the radio on, and the radio guy goes, अच्छा हुन तुसी इदा करो टेबल चेहरा पासे कर दो सारे है ना because आ जेड़ा गाना आ रहा I don't need to introduce it, and there are so many requests, and I was totally oblivious to it. I had no idea what he was talking about, and I thought it was some other track, and I did that, and I was working away, and he goes bas है ना because कहता तुसी है ना बैठ के नहीं सुन सकते गाने है ना. And I thought, and I was getting excited. I thought, what song is this? And then Lakanu came on. I was just totally blown away. That's when I knew that the track was, becoming awesome. Because prior to that, we were just, people were just saying to Ninda, because Ninda used to, do all the bookings and stuff like that. And remember, we didn't have the kind of social media that we have now. At that time, there wasn't. And Ninda goes, that track is really, I'm hearing really good things. I used to say, yeah, but that was when I really, really, my kind of, my pen went all over the place, and I sat back and I thought, oh my God, that's Lakanu.
No, it was. I mean, I've got my own sort of story about that album because you guys, the very first pressing that Linda got, as soon as he got it, he rushed down to Radio Derby with it. And I can't remember. I think you was there as well, Vijay, and maybe one or the other. And so he came to Radio Derby with the very first pressing, and he came into the studio and he says, "It's here. You've got to play it." So we played it, and then Linda thought he'd take that back home with him. But little did he know, I said, "Bring that here. That's mine now." And I've still got that LP in my collection, and I've still got the cover. It was sent to Ninda in. It's got his name and address on it and everything. So I don't know if Ninda's missing that. If he ever mentions it to you, you don't know where it is, okay? You don't know, know nothing about it. But I've got it, and that, you know, I was speaking the other week, and I said, you know, Vijay, that vinyl there it's 32, 33 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember at the time the track wasn't released, and my brother heard it, thought this is really wicked, and took it away with him. And we were frantically throughout the night finding out where he was. So we located him at some pub somewhere, you know. And I was like, "Oi, you know, what have you done?" And he was just sitting there, "Oh, you know, have a drink." And I said, "You've taken the whole thing," and you know, he even didn't know that it wasn't released. He just thought, "Gana sona hai, I'm a legend."
Now you've released your debut album, and you've got one track which is absolutely massive on this album. It's blown up, I would say, all over the UK. Everyone, all of a sudden, from not knowing you, knew exactly who Achanak were. I mean, how do you follow that up? I mean, what did you guys do then? Did you like sit and think, well, guys, we've created an absolute monster here. So what are we going to do next? Kind of like, if you've already got the monster.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it was a bit like, okay, yeah, Vij, I think we ought to be doing another album. It was as simple as that, right? Okay, you know, this in the, can we go and get some songs now? Yeah, he was, you know, and because I was the vocalist in the band, so it was, you know, we all had to do like little jobs to do. So my job was to bring the songs in, you know, and you know, we talked about different ideas. I remember the poll tax was a big issue.
Yes.
And we thought, well, how can we incorporate that into a song? Because it was such a massive issue, which was affecting all the Asians, you know? And I remember, you know, sort of me, because a lot of the songs, either I wrote them or they were co-written with the Alpuri. So I used to take the idea over, or I had half-finished tracks, you know, and I used to take them over to him, and then we used to sit down and we used to write them. And I went over to him and I said, you know, ਭਾਜੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ politics ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਬਹੁਤ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ goes ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਹੀ ਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ you know ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ you know ਆਪਣੀ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ you know and all that kind of stuff ਹੈ ਨਾ and ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਦਿਲਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗਾਣਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਨਾ he looked at me really weird ਹੈ ਨਾ you know ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਾਣਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਲਿਖਣਾ right and that's how it used to start. It was just an idea, it was just a thought, and then it was like, well ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਢੋਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਹਨਾ like lyrics ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਨਾ and ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਢੋਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਢੋਲ ਟੈਕਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੋਲ ਟੈਕਸ ਜੋੜ ਦੋ you know and that's how the songs came about and then sort of we used to go back to the band, we did the music and everything, and then we felt that how could we make this a bit more special, what could we do? And then it was going on to you know we have the Queen's corgis, then we had you know the splitting image ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ voice overs ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਹਨਾ then we contacted them and got the voiceovers done in there to complete the whole track kind of thing. So that was just one track. Then there were things like, you know, Har Ganga, you know, I heard that from somewhere, Har Ganga, so how can we do that? Jordani, gada gitte vich mal chani Jordani. And, you know, you used to, you know, when you're on stage and, you know, people are outdoing each other, women are outdoing the other person, you know, and that's where that came from. And, you know, that's how the songs were born, really.
What was really interesting is that you guys, like, you sort of created a theme with your albums, wasn't it? Because every title you did
Yeah,
after that had the word Natch in it, didn't it? So then you,
that's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
after the Achanak, the debut album, you then did Panache, which had Natch in it.
Yeah.
Your next album also had the word Natch, and that kind of
Yeah.
like that theme's carried on, hasn't it? Really, for I think even your last album you guys did it had
Yeah, Game Set and Notch, which was the last one. Actually, that was, you know, we put it out because obviously we've got social media now.
yeah.
So we put it out there. We said we're doing an album, you know. So what do you think, guys? You know, do you think we should do some, you know, link it with the original theme? And people said, yeah, you know. In
Yeah,
fact, they said, what, you know, you always had a notch in it.
that's
What
right.
do you think? And we had all these suggestions, and then we felt that Game Set and Notch was really good.
Yeah.
So we call the current album Game Set and Notch. But yeah.
We've talked about your recording career. What about your live career? You know, the actual live performances on stage. I mean, they did take off for you quite quickly as well, didn't they? I mean, from the release of your first album, and I can remember you guys making your debut at the Dome, just
Yes.
the album was released and stuff. And I remember all of you was quite tense that day because it was the first time I think you was performing at the Dome. Because obviously the Dome was the kind of, like, I would say, the place for
It
punk.
was the mecca of Bhangra at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I remember, yeah, yeah. No, I remember it. And I think, yeah, the first performance. But, you know, again, we were sitting back, you know, I had these butterflies in my tummy, you know, and, you know, I thought, well, I'm going to go out there. But then because everyone was laughing and joking, the rest of the guys as well, you know, you just go with the flow. And we thought, right, we can just go in there and just be Achanak, you know. Achanak ne आए हैं ते अचानक ही ऐसी stage उत्ते जाके and we're going to perform Achanak ही, you know. And that's what we did. And then it just got crazy in the end because we were doing so many shows. We were sometimes doing 4 shows on the weekend. Then we were doing shows, weddings, private functions. And then we were doing stage shows during the week as well.
but moving on from there, then, you know, Achanak as a band a few years later won the best live band Pop Awards as well. I mean, that must have been, because even then I would still say you're quite young, you know, as into the Bhangra. So to win that at quite an early age must have been an achievement for yourselves.
Well, we were just tearing everything apart. You know, we were everywhere. We were performing. You know, and we had a good live sound. We had a good sound engineer as well. And yeah, we played with loads and loads of famous people: Tom Jones, Horkon, Fatboy Slim, Boney M. You know, to name a few. So we. To be honest, it became another journey for us. It became another challenge, and I think probably that's what it was all about. You know, music has to challenge you because it makes you a better person. It makes you a better artist, you know, through those challenges.
What's the future now for? I mean, have you and Linda sat down and thought, well, what's the future now for Janaka? You know, because now the market in the UK has totally changed, where albums used to be massive sellers. You know, you are only doing singles now. Singles, I don't know if they sell. I mean, people try and say, oh yeah, you know, we've sold this much, but you know, the buying kind of public has kind of like disappeared.
I think the way people digest music now is totally different. We know that, and that's down to technology. And I think technology came, and eventually we all have to bow down to it. It's inevitable, you know. We did an album, a recent album I say recent, few years back. Game Set a Notch was really for the European market, and that's why we did the album, because they still want to see an album. They want that shrink wrapped thing, you know, album. And that's why we actually did and put together the album where everyone was doing singles, because we are in a different market. In terms of Achanak moving forward, obviously with this lockdown and obviously the pandemic, it's changed everything globally. We know that. And whether it will be the same, I don't know. I'd like to do another product, hopefully. I've written some songs. I've written some songs in lockdown. Well, what else could we do? And so it'd be nice to sort of, try and see what kind of feel and music that these tracks need, and then work around there.
VJ, I've got to say, absolutely fantastic catching up with you. Absolutely brilliant having this chat with you, because I think it's been quite a frank opportunity, which a lot of Achanak, fans, probably there's bits they haven't heard from VJ himself before, as the lead singer of Achanak. So, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a great pleasure talking to you, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. And obviously, when your new product, if you do get a new song out or a new product out, we'll have to do this all over again.
Yeah, absolutely, Polly. Can I say it's been great chatting to you. I felt really at ease and having this candid conversation. And it's taken me back as well. Going back right from the sort of Gurdwara days up until now. And it has, it's a story, it's a narrative, it's something that is the Achanak journey. And I'm privileged to be a part of it. But it's been great talking to you, Polly. It's been brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
सोनिए